Did I get to see with you political risk factors last class? Did I? Want to share screen? We saw this last class, right?
Yep, we already saw it.
We saw it. And we saw political risk factors also? Did we see this?
Yes, no.
No?
Nope, I don't remember that.
Okay, but we did see the alliances.
Yep.
Because we were talking about alliances, these type, right? We saw this. This I remember we saw. I've been so busy that I'm confusing one class with the other. Okay. So we are going to start with political risk factors. When I assign you the country that you are going to be working with the group, you have to assess the political risk factors of that country. So you have to refer to the domestic instability, and I have some pictures here of what domestic instability looks like. So in domestic instability, we consider a high crime rate, high unemployment, high social discontent. So that's going to create domestic instability. At the time of making a decision on how to enter a country, would you, businessman, consider settling in a country with pictures like this?
Nope.
No, right? So most likely, if there is an opportunity of making business with this country, having this type of situation, the most you can think of probably would be exporting to that country, making business in a simpler form, just exporting, but not settling in that country. A few years ago, when Brazil was in better condition than it is today, many of the CEOs or the general managers that were from other countries and they settled in Brazil, they were living in Chile because Chile was a lot more stable than Brazil. So they were living in Santiago and they were flying to Brazil because they had high domestic instability. So the foreigners, the expatriates that belong to the country or that they had a joint venture with a Brazilian company, they were not living in Brazil. So those are part of the decisions. But in order when you have to think that you're going to invest so much resources to enter a country and to form your organization in that country, these things have to be very well thought in relation to safety, obviously. And then we have foreign conflicts. Depending on the conflicts countries may have with other countries, it's also something that you have to consider at the moment of making decisions of settling or just doing simple international operations. So you don't lose the opportunity to make business with those countries. And then we have political climate. You, as a businessman or a businesswoman, you don't have political colors. You are not from the right and you are not from the left. You have to seize the business opportunities. So if whatever the political climate of a country, if there is an opportunity to make business with that country, great, you make business with that country. Now, the level of business of that country, then you have to match with political climate, domestic instability. What is greater? So that is a time to make decisions. And then we're going to see next class, what type of planning would you use in order to make that type of decisions? And then we have the economic climate, which refers to open market, as you can see here, where you have everything you can buy from any country, or you can export to any country. So you have the facility of having an open market. Or is it that you are facing restrictions to enter to that country or to enter merchandise in this country? Okay, so those are the political risk factors that you need to assess. Assessing means evaluating. And then we have international political practices. These are practices used all over the planet. We have protectionism. And one of the protectionism, the most common ones are the tariffs. And what are tariffs? I believe I've said this before. Tariffs.
Miss, we already saw this.
We saw it, right? I thought I had. Okay, let's remind it so then we can finish with the entire idea. Remember what tariffs are. But you said we saw it. We saw it. What are they?
You're asking to me?
Anyway, all of you. Are you talking to
Are
me?
duties over taxes?
That's right. Those are taxes over duties, because what you regularly have are duties. So you're going to add taxes on top of those duties. So you increase the price, and that's a way to restrict. What's the other one? Quotas? Come on, guys, talk to me. You fell asleep. Quotas, restrictions on quantity of merchandise, right? Those are quotas. Restriction on the quantity of the merchandise that you can exit the country or you can enter in the country. A subsidy is the government help or the government aid to certain areas or industrial fields. And I was telling you last time that there is a subsidy to dairy products, to milk in Chile. And then we have the cartel. Who remembers what a cartel is? What's a cartel?
When one enterprise or when multiple enterprise have the power on the production of one product, for example, the OPEP.
Okay. So they
That's one
control
kind
two
of
things.
the price and the quantity.
Right, production and prices, right? And remember, a cartel are alliances. Okay, then we talked about bribery, extortion, and grease payment. What is the difference between grease payment and bribery?
Bribery was large amount of money and grease payment was low amount of money.
Okay, bribery is usually referred to the deal companies make with politicians. Don't forget that. It's usually related to that, so the politicians can vote, right, in order to give them access to settle in places where they're not supposed to be settled. For example, if it refers to ecosystem that the country is protecting and they need a permission to enter into that area, for example, to install dams, for example, that is going to hurt the ecosystem. However, politicians vote in favor of the company. It's because they have received large, and we're talking large amounts of money that would mean new houses or new apartments for the politicians. And extortion is when we have, right, violence involved. I was telling you the example of Russia. And Greece payment of very little money that you pay usually to employees to push papers or to do favors, right? That is the difference. A large amount of money here, but this one is change money. It's little money that you pay to employees. And we talked about the competitive forces that you remember, right? How does the General Agreement on Tariffs and Trade, the GATT, is a competitive force? Remember that when we are talking about competitive forces, we talk about positive and negative. What does it regulate? What does the GATT regulate? No? Come on, guys, international business managers, international business engineers. Copyright, right? They regulate copyright right now. And World Trade Organizations, what do they regulate?
The rules of the trade agreements between the countries and
That's right.
develop it.
Regulations on the trade, right? And here we also have the Incoterms. They have to go through the World Trade Organization to agree on certain contracts of agreements. And we have the free trade agreements that is for the agreements people have or countries have to lower duties to enter the countries. And also in relation to restrictions on merchandise. And regional agreements. Can you mention some regional agreements? You're sleepy today. Is it Friday? It looks like Friday. Come on. Famous regional agreements. What are they? Does European Union sound familiar? Mercosur sound familiar? Okay, guys, you're inactive today.
I really don't remember that, Miss.
No, but that's what we saw last class, didn't we?
But I know free trade agreement in between countries, but general agreement,
Regional.
regional agreement. Oh,
Not general, it's regional agreement.
Miss, so European Union could be
European Union.
Could be an trade agreement and also regional agreement.
Sure, sure. The European Union, as I said, is a regional agreement. And when we have an agreement with Europe, Chile, Europe, that's not a regional agreement. It's a free trade agreement.
Because it's so far, lejos. It's
Yeah,
not
but
in the region, obviously.
Yeah, but European Union, that is a regional agreement because all those countries, they have freedom to access merchandise back and forth. Right?
Yeah, okay.
But
Like-
if we consider Chile and the European Union, there would be a free trade. That's all.
Okay.
All right. Okay. So I had this activity, right? It says you are an international business engineer who wants to start exporting but does not produce any merchandise. What type of operation would you use? What do you think?
Import merchandise of other countries.
Okay. An import operation? Is that what you're saying? Import?
Yes. Yes.
Okay. And when we're talking about import-export operation, which of those import-export operations would you use? Which one? This is an international operation. This is what we mean by import-export operation. Which of these would you use? If you are, if you're this, an international business engineer who wants to start exporting but does not produce any merchandise, which one would you use? Huh? If you wanted in this moment, being in your 4th or 5th year of university, and you want to start exporting, and you want to start importing, whichever, or both, where would you start right now?
With the commission agent?
Definitely, because you don't have any more resources. So you can start with nothing and you can become a commission agent. All you need in order to be a commission agent is the contacts. Because the bank, we're going to see it next semester, you can operate through the banks without your money, with the money of the people who want to buy, or with the money of the people who want to sell. And you can be a commission agent and you get the money. So it's a good opportunity for you to start looking into that. It's a good advantage that you would have because you have the knowledge, you have the know-how. All you have to do is contact the people, contact the whatever, small farmers or what have you. Make them a collective and start making your own business. It's a good opportunity. You're not a freight forwarder because many people confuse the freight forward or the custom agent with the commission agent. Two different stories. You, as a commission agent, you work with the custom agent and you work with the freight forwarder. But you're doing on the entire process and you receive a commission. Usually, a commission is 5% of the whole transaction. And when you sell a container, imagine how much is that transaction. So it's a good opportunity. You gotta start putting your thoughts into that. Okay. Do we have any questions on this? No? How are you doing with the case? Did you finish it? Guys, I feel like I'm talking to a mirror. Come on, talk to me.
Sorry, Miss. Our group haven't started yet because we have many.
I uploaded it late, I know, sorry. But I gave you extra time.
Yes, we know. We were working on other tests and
you haven't seen it yet?
Yeah, as a group, we discussed that we will start tomorrow.
Okay.
Full focusing on the job.
Okay. We are going to see planning after that week because planning is the last part of management. And I want to see it together with the other groups so we can go on parallels equally. Today I finished with the other parallel, the same thing that I just told you that I had somehow covered with you before. So planning, we're going to see it after the active pause. If you have any questions for me for next week, remember that we're not going to have classes and we're not going to have evaluations. So if you want to talk or to discuss something, you send me an email and send me, can we meet? And I'll send you the invitation and we can discuss. All right? So I'm not going to advance on planning. Planning is the last thing we're going to do. After that class of planning, I'm going to give you the countries that you have to prepare and prepare for the final dissertation. And we are ready. Got it?
Got it, Miss.
Good, guys.
Yep.
Okay, so I'll see you then. I'm not going to advance anymore. And enjoy your weekends. Take a little break.
You too, Miss.
You too,
Okay,
Miss.
guys. You be
Bye.
good.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye, Miss.
Bye, honey.